I don't know about you guys, but this moon is surprisingly emotional. It's the Gemini full moon tomorrow, basically tonight. And I don't have any Gemini in my immediate chart, and still I'm finding this moon to be really, really intense. It could be a lot of factors for me that are coming to play at this moment, but I have a sort of a suspicion that this has to do with the healing power of Mercury and of contemplation and of the bridge between the mind, the heart, the body, and spirit. Because for me, I am coming up against questions having to do with faith, questions having to do with my own conviction in my work and in my art. And I think it's really beautiful, actually, to be given this opportunity to almost like mentally contemplate matters of the heart, matters of the spirit. Usually this would drive me insane, and I think that taken too far, this is an energy that can over intellectualize, over analyze, especially over analyzing matters of the heart, like emotional things or spiritual matters that may not be able to be comprehended through words and thoughts. But it is also important to take some time to maybe skirt the edges of these things through our minds or with our minds, and also try to find balance by stepping away a little bit from anxiety in the process of analyzing. If we can put a little bit of space between ourselves, our true self, and the things that swim in our minds and our thoughts, we can find a little bit more, I think, resilience and peace at this time. Now, I'm not totally aware right now of the rest of the astrology at the moment. I find it a little bit overwhelming to stay so up to date with that kind of stuff. But if anybody has anything to share, I would love to know. But yeah, so I'm feeling this message today has to do a lot with the heart center, with turning towards the seat of love and of awareness within, and how that is going to help balance productivity, how that's going to help balance our lives, basically, and help us to find that sense of, I would say, coherence and simplicity in what we're doing and what we're building. So, as per usual, I'm going to start by reading this beautiful message that we have given to us here with "This soul walks upon all paths." This beautiful card. "And seek not the depths of your knowledge with staff or sounding line, for self is a sea boundless and measureless. Say not, I have found the truth, but rather, I have found a truth. Say not, I have found the path of the soul. Say rather, I have met the soul walking upon my path. For the soul walks upon all paths. The soul walks not upon a line, neither does it grow like a reed. The soul unfolds itself like a lotus of countless petals. And we also have Mother Rose, returning to each other, compassion, humanity. There's a face in this card too, subtly. It's very much reminding me of like a Kuan Yin kind of energy, like a compassion goddess. Okay, so Yeah, there is this energy right now of returning to the collective consciousness to some degree, to the heart space, and to the path, to, I think, to greater spiritual understanding about what our purpose is, what each of our individual purposes are, and what that means. And there is so much productivity content out there, or subject matter, that tries to get us to pinpoint what it is that is our speciality, pinpoint our gifts, our niche, make that into a business, make our hobbies into businesses. Just basically girl boss the shit out of life. And to try to do that from or with matters of the heart, matters like, art works or spiritual services or attuning oneself to God. It can be like really, it can really easily lead to burnout and to confusion, and also to, I would say, at some point, the questioning of one's conviction. And I've seen this over and over and over again in myself and in others who lead heart-led businesses or spiritual businesses, where at some point, and this is normal for artists as well, this is totally normal to lose our way on the path and to basically lose conviction. That is, to forget our why, or to remember our why but to not feel connected to it anymore, or to not feel connected to ourselves, or to feel like we've lost something on the way, and question the path, the whole path. This happens a lot. I see also like I see it the most in creative and spiritual paths, but there's this added pressure I'm really feeling these days around financial despair. And that is something that so many of us are experiencing. There's such an incredible wealth inequity in the world, and like there always has been, like time immemorial, humans have always had like this ridiculous discrepancy in wealth in societies, but we're feeling it on such a mundane level. And the torture, there's something torturous about it, where there's all these channels, like these tarot channels, that are telling us that wealth is right around the corner, like riches and abundance are right there. And the beauty of that is that most of those readings, if you can understand this, then you're doing good. But like most of the readings and tarot videos and channelings are activations for the reader as much as for whoever's watching. They might say that what they're doing is telling the future, but that is impossible. You have to understand, it's not impossible to do divination, like future reading for an individual. That is more possible because we are able to tune into that person's actual path and like see where things are going. But you have to understand that a collective reading is not a fortune tell for like thousands of people. But what it does do is it activates the energy of that vibration in whoever's watching and listening. And that's more powerful. That's more powerful. If you can understand, if you can watch a video and understand it like that for yourself, then you are both freeing yourself into your own willpower, while also, and like holding your own power, while also surrendering to this, activation of abundance that is being presented. So I don't know why I went off about that, but I think it's important for us to get some clarity around what the fuck we're doing watching these videos and tuning into these things if we do feel called to watch them. Know that you cannot be told what your life is by some random stranger who is not actually speaking to you and connecting with you, but you can share in their energy, and you can allow them to like facilitate a vibe, right? That said, there are collective shifts happening. There are collective movements happening, and we know it because we can feel it, and we're creating it for ourselves and for each other. And what I think why I'm talking about this is because this is kind of what the message is about. I personally feel really guided right now to help myself and help others feel actually empowered. Because for so long, I feel, for at least for the last like handful of years, there's been this pattern in the spiritual corner of the internet that I think has been rather misleading. Although I'm not bashing it because, we all took the path here. But I think that there's a lot of confusion around manifestation, around surrender, around mindset, things like, your energy or your frequency or your vibration is what brings things in, which is really problematic because then it actually makes people feel like there's something wrong with them if things aren't looking a certain way in their external reality, when a lot of the time the desire itself and the obsession with certain things, certain external factors, has not been fully explored in that individual yet. We don't know what the motivations are sometimes until enough time has passed. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. And I think that we all deserve to have what we want and need. I think we all deserve more than we need. We all need the surplus that is available to all humans on this planet. And we also deserve to feel a sense of wonder and awe and connection and beauty and joy and pleasure without having everything we want. And that, I think, is where spiritual power exists. It's not in denying the material world the things that we all want on our path, but it is in finding presence in the moment, truly, and going beyond gratitude like lists, right? Going beyond just saying, oh yeah, I'm so grateful for my bed, I'm so grateful for my friend, and into like a deep love and presence of where we are at the moment, even if there are important things lacking or there's not enough money. And the reason why I think this is a tricky subject for us to talk about is because it verges on justifying poverty. It verges on sanctifying poverty and martyrizing poverty. And all that does is keep the rich rich and the powerful powerful. And we don't want that. We want equanimity. We want there to be a dispersion of wealth. We want all beings to be well on this planet. That's what we want. That's what I know you want, and it's what I want. And that version of well will be different for everyone, but everybody deserves it. But let's bring it back to what I was initially saying and what this card, the soul walks upon all paths, I think is saying. I think it'll make sense why I'm talking about money and also the soul's path as we go. But this community is very, very obsessed with, and not, for good reason, for good measure. We're very obsessed with finding ways to become wealthy. And we might not all be like obsessed with becoming rich, that's fine, but we all want to build a livelihood that is not only secure, but actually allows us to build and have the things that we want in our life and to live a good quality of life while doing that. And doing that from something that we love, not burning out, and being able to explore our gifts and our talents and be like fully authentic, fully realized individuals. That is a good path to be on, I think. But it can be really difficult and it can be confusing at times, like I said. And what this card is trying to remind us is that there is nowhere to go to find ourselves. That walking this path, we find ourselves in all moments. But also, every single path anything has ever taken and ever will take and is taking is the path of the soul. That there's no more sacred path. So I guess in some ways, this message is trying to free us from any kind of like over analyzing about how we're supposed to be doing this, how we're supposed to be becoming, who we're meant to be. It's like all these things about like take this quiz to find out what kind of witch you are, or take these personality tests because this is the way that your brain works and this is the best way that you function, and like human design and astrology. And there's so much for us to engage with to construct a sense of self. But what if we just kind of stopped overthinking it and we just went with the ideas that we have, and we just allowed them to be the best versions of those things, not by perfectionism, not by like getting totally lost in the detail sauce, unless you love that kind of shit, but just by caring, by working from the heart center, by working from genuinely what we think is good. And I don't mean good morally, I mean what we think is like quality, or what we think is important. And as long as you're rooted in that kind of integrity, then anything that you do on this path is going to lead you to fulfillment, to wholeness. But you have to also understand that everything you're doing in every moment is available for you to find wholeness in, right? Oh my God. This is turning into like the power of now. Okay, so we have the 8 of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and the 4 of Pentacles. So how I see this is we're working away, we're creating, we're refining, we're getting really good at stuff, we're producing. And we're alone in that. There's something quite solitary in that process of working on one's craft in this card. I'm getting the feeling that what it has kind of been doing is sort of like creating this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just say like a solitude, but I'm gonna find the word later. A kind of self-focused vibe. And it's almost a little bit obsessive. It's a little bit like kind of leaving the rest of the world out of mind. And I'm not saying that's where we've been, but like I'm not saying that we have been completely ignoring the rest of the world. I think that there's been this beautiful focus on craft and on creating what, really feels good, doing my work well, learning more, and mastering something. But I think where we are now is at this point where we're sort of emotionally contemplating everything. And instead of just being in the flow of work and production, we're having this moment, probably because of this moon, where we are truly contemplating emotional matters. We're contemplating the the ether of this whole thing. We're contemplating the bits that are like intangible to this whole process. And we're looking within ourselves to see, how do I actually feel about this? How do I really feel about this thing that I'm doing? And what's the meaning of all of this? And what are my dreams even telling me? Like there is a lot of self-contemplation, emotional searching, and honestly, a lot of emotion and tenderness in this moment right now. And what I've always felt with this card is she's holding what kind of seems to me to be like a holy grail of sorts. It's like a very interesting, religiously oriented object too. There's angels, there's a cross on it. It is in the shape of a cross to some degree, but it also has like arms. It's really odd. And I think it's like she's focusing on it to try to open it. Because to me, it looks like there are doors involved in this thing. And she's looking in this, peering at it, focusing on it as if she's using telekinesis to get it to open the doors and reveal its secrets. So what's happening right now is everything has shifted around us just for a moment and become this, instead of being this matter of almost materialistic production and pursuit of beauty and refinement and like learning, which has been getting us to where we need to go, and it's been like building our business, or it's been like bringing us in money. There's this moment now where everything is being like swirled about, and we're just stuck with ourselves, and we can't do any more of the work for a moment, and we have to think, and we have to sort of like look at ourselves and contemplate our emotional body as well as our spiritual body and our place in the world. And what's happening is this focus on, okay, well, what does this all mean then? Then why am I here? Show me your secrets. Reveal yourself to me. But the thing with the Holy Grail is that it exists within, right? It's like God within you. So there's like this almost stubborn energy to that mystery that you are trying to uncover at the moment, to the emotional confusion you might be feeling. Oh my gosh, it's so tickly. My nose is so tickly. Ah. Oh my God. There's a mystery here, and it's almost stubbornly not revealing itself. And I believe that this reading is telling us that is the point, or maybe there is no point. That would also be the vibe. There is no point, and that's the point. This is pretty deep stuff. So, and the Chariot is here underlying the deck to tell us that this is a journey, and it's a spiritual journey, and it is wonderful, and it's powerful, and it's about empowering ourselves through action, through actually taking the reins of our own life and steering the damn thing, instead of being passively surrendered at all times to the external body of the world, of the universe, giving the external, like mommy or daddy, giving us things, that we are God. We are like this little body, these ears that are listening to this. You literally are Shakti, because that is like, this is what all the teachings have always said, if we really are listening. Like, you literally are the universe. So it's not about you just being in like a dreamy mindset vibe that's not being like, that's sort of detached from your sense of willpower, and that's enough to bring things in. It's like, yes, you need to be doing the mindset work, or yes, you can And yes, you can do the vision boarding. And yes, you can do all these things that help you to get mental clarity and energetic alignment. But you also need to understand that you are deeply powerful and that you have to be the one to make things happen. And that doesn't mean go off and like kill yourself being productive. It doesn't mean act outside of your way, like your nature. For example, I'm a projector in human design, and there are definitely certain forms of action that don't work well for me and others that do work really well for me. So I work within that capacity, but I understand that I myself must choose, and that is like spiritual power. If that makes sense. So it seems like an obvious thing to say, but I really do think that this gets lost in the sauce in the spiritual world, at least for the last 20 years. I think that we can get really, really focused on quote unquote feminine energy and feminine, receptive power, which, by the way, that's a story for another day, because the gendering of these types of energy is redonkulous and stupid. But anyway, so we can get really lost in that kind of like receptive, surrendered mode, and I don't know, kind of disengage ourselves with the empowerment that comes from knowing that you are an active component in your life. Do you know what? I think I will actually quickly talk about the feminine versus masculine energy thing. I'm just going to straight up tell you right now that the fucking bullshit, excuse my French, but the idea that there is like a feminine energy and a masculine energy, or a way of being, right? Where the feminine energy is receptive, surrendered, quote unquote creative or flowy, also dynamic, like all these things. And that the masculine is this like thing that like moves forward and is, I don't know, there's lots of different theories on this, but what I've mostly heard is masculine is moves forward, takes action, but also holds space, holds container, is foundation, is solidness, right? Or maybe like upon which the feminine can like rest. So cool, sounds great. All you've done is just create a gendered like trope for men and women. That's kind of all I really see with that. And or it's like the reverse, where you're projecting human norms or human ideals rather onto spiritual forces or spiritual truths, which is like, okay, that can be beautiful, I guess, but it is by no means the full picture. If you're a woman or you're a feminine being, like a femme person, you literally have as much life force pushing power as like any man. And that's because choice and willpower is not a masculine quality. All the things that are all in existence, all the intangible and the intangible qualities of life, and the motivations and the desires and the thoughts and the, as much as the actual tangible things, those are all Shakti. Those are all expressions of the divine. And if I may, in tantric philosophy, Shakti is pictured as a female form, as a woman. And Shiva is pictured as a man. But it is understood that the two are the same in that philosophy, in that belief structure or belief system. Believers understand that those two things are the same, and that it is just like a way of reflecting the God force in human form so that we can relate to it. Okay, bear with me, but like you have to understand that what that means is like Shiva is consciousness as a whole, and Shakti is the expression of the consciousness, but it's all the same force. So it doesn't make any sense to say that one way of acting is feminine and one way of acting is masculine, because if you just do a brief summary of all the belief systems across planet Earth, you will find that notion contradicted over and over and over again with different beliefs. So many cultures think the opposite about these things, which is kind of funny and beautiful, because in that sense, the big picture shows us that all of it and none of it is true. Okay, so anyway, oh my God, I'm just going to let this be a ramble. And if you're here and you're listening, so awesome. Thank you for being here. And please, please say hi. So yeah, I will take this reading as more of, let's say, an activation for us to get into, to allow ourselves to spend some time in the sense of contemplation, state of contemplation, and to allow ourselves also to find presence on the path and to not know. And just to not know, because we've already been creating something wonderful here. We've already been working really hard. And yes, right now it feels like a mystery and it feels like an emotional time, but that is part of a process of understanding ourselves, of getting closer to our own hearts, to our own selves, and then to emerge with, and I'm seeing this card, this Four of Pentacles right now, as stability, as simplicity, paring things back, pulling the energy back to ourselves, and remembering we don't have to create for the sake of productivity. We don't have to create for the pleasure of others. By all means, like, you know, create for yourself, like create for what makes you truly happy and feel joy and feel pleasure. That's a main message here, is to emotionally reconfigure ourselves towards our own productivity, and to allow things to be in some ways mysterious or hidden, and to unlock these mysteries as we go along. Because if we're putting pressure on ourselves to have all the answers right now, right here, or to be completely and utterly certain that the path that we're on is right for our soul, blah, 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 then we're kind of missing the point of life, which is that all paths are where the soul is. And anywhere where you are on your path is exactly where truly you need to be. And we hear that all the time, but it's like, you can't be anywhere else other than where you are. So what are you going to do with this time? What are you going to do? Are you going to stress yourself out? Or are you going to try to find something magical? Are you going to try to find a little tiny spark of awe? Are you going to cut out the noise for a second? Right? So that's my message. And thank you so much for being here. If you're still here, please feel free to interact with this as much as you want, to share your thoughts on how you're feeling, to, stick around, maybe subscribe if you want to, and then we can have more of these kinds of activations. Usually my readings are a little bit more tarot oriented, and this one felt a little bit more like me rambling. But I appreciate you so much, and I really, really hope that you are staying warm wherever you are, or cool, I guess, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, that you're feeling like you're taking care of yourself today, and that you have others that take care of you as well. If you're interested in working with me in any capacity, I have information in the description box on my website. You can do personal readings with me, or you can do one-on-one sessions. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Bye.